Hi everyone, I hope you can hear me. It's high tide, so it's, we're getting close to high tide, so it's a little louder than ideal. But I was guided here on this day to this beach, one that I haven't filmed from yet. And they're working on the beach down there. Our beaches are pretty decimated from the hurricanes last year, the 2 hurricanes. And she said that today's the last day they're closing it for a month. So it just made me giddy. It's so funny. I just always trust the guidance. It always works out. By the way, it's August 2nd, 2023. And I was guided to make another video, as I mentioned. First of all, I want to say I'm blown away by how illuminated the darkness in our world is now. Things are rising, so don't lose your faith. We are meant to go through this. We'll get through this together. I want to share some incredible synchronicities that I feel guided to share with you, as well as some more heads up, just like my last video about our salvation when I was saved. Unbelievable sign again. We are always taken care of. When we trust that and we don't go interfere, things always work out, and in such magical ways. And I know you know through synchronicity how blessed and divine it is. I feel to share this story as an example of when things get challenging and then boom, something just drops in your lap. I mean, so what happened was I've been carrying a lot of stress in my body. I work with the stress, to reduce it and all these things, but I wasn't working on the physical. It's more the emotional, the spiritual, mental. So for weeks, I was really feeling such stiffness in my body and my muscles and my joints, everything. And I was like, I have to get a massage. And I've only gotten a handful of massages in my life. I believe in massage therapy thoroughly. A good therapist is worth his or her weight in gold. But I just didn't want to spend the money, and I was putting it off, and and then one day I woke up and oh my gosh, I could barely move. I was so stiff. I was like, I have to do something here. I have to. So, sorry, it's really hot. And it's just after sunrise. So I was just like, I have to do something. I don't know. I don't even know a massage therapist around here. So, then I went to the post office, okay? And I hadn't been there in a few days, so this package, there was a package there and it was delayed getting to me, but it was the most perfect timing. Okay, so I go and pick up the package. I get home, it's from one of my beautiful loved ones, and I open, it's this huge package with several things, but the one thing in there that just floored me. I'm sorry, I keep looking at the birds because I keep seeing 12 birds and then 8 birds. So I went to the post office and it was a surprise package, totally unexpected. And I brought it home and opened it up, and there's several things, but one thing I just about fell over. It was a handheld massage, deep tissue massager. This really nice, hot, classy, well-built instrument that you can put on your wherever you need to on your body to loosen up the muscles. And I couldn't believe, the timing was beyond uncanny. It was a literal miracle to me. And how he knew. I mean, did an angel whisper? Or he's always been very magical, timing, what he does. Very magical person. But the point is, it's like we're always taken care of in even smaller ways, you know, let alone the big ways where we have God working through our lives, through people, through nature, everything. Everything is here we're in a dance with everything. And it's so beautiful. We have to stay in that high vibe now, especially in this month of August. We had a supermoon yesterday. We have one later this month. But the 8/8, the big Lion's Gate, is coming up very soon, in just a week. And we need to keep our vibrations high through this. But of course, when powerful times happen, the darkness tries to bring us down. So we have to stay connected to synchronicity. So another sign I feel to share has to do with Archangel Michael and his sword mission. And if you read Michael's Sword in You, you know how magical that book was, because there were all these signs that were occurring when he gave me the mission and when I was in Canada. But before, during, and after, and to this day, this is 5.5 years now since that book's been out, since I've been leading the spiritual army with him, and the signs continue to happen. But the one I'm going to tell you about occurred a year after that book. I think a little over a year after that book was put out, okay? And I was driving in Boulder. I'd just gotten in the car and I noticed a stain on my shirt. So I got my oversized water bottle and tried to pour a little water, but a whole heap of water came out. And you guys look, you know, hopefully know me. I walk with God. I connect to Archangel Michael. My whole life is in service. But so I'm telling you, this is the honest to God truth. This is exactly how it looked like. I didn't paint on the shirt to make this up. I have to say, because there's always going to be disbelievers out there, but those who know me know these crazy things happen. Crazy, wonderful. This is how my shirt looked. I wrapped it to my knees so you can stretch it out so you can see exactly how it looked. I honestly couldn't paint it better than that. If I had a brush and water, I couldn't paint it better than that. I absolutely couldn't. You know, many of us have been working really hard over the years to uncover the truth for humanity's sake, to hopefully save lives, to build awareness, to help us move into our heaven on earth. We're like little Noahs out there warning people. And all of us that have been called that, they've all come true. They've all come true. Before I left Hawaii for the mainland in March, I created a March of 2020. Sorry, I created a video a few weeks before, in February, and I saw what was going on with, and I knew that I have to keep doing this for those that are new to because they'll take my channel down if they see these words. I am so censored beyond imagination. Even though I'm not some huge name, I am so targeted, which means that I'm right over the target. Anyways, so in this video, I said, do not fear it. It's the same playbook. They're doing it again so that we go with their whatever they're putting out there. And but who would have thought it would have been what actually happened? How horrendous, how deeply they penetrated the core of humanity in such destructive ways, such horrendous ways, and especially to the unfortunate effect on our children. more than anything. They haven't even had a chance to really enjoy life on earth yet. But that's what they always do. They come from all angles to penetrate, to get us. They are very organized and very patient. This has been planned for millennia, if you read Revelations, right? This has all been planned over so much time, and we're just reacting to it. But the thing is, we have the power. We have God, for those choosing God, and God wins. The story's written. We're playing it out. Like they say, this is a movie. It really is. It is such a movie. Not a fun one to watch. I covered in the last video about SOF, this movie. Massive exploitations are being proven with him, all of them. You can't just look at one. It's the whole picture. It's, again, penetrating from all angles. And it's not just the movie. It's so much more. So I saw with my own eyes and heard with my own ears him talking in a way about Christ I couldn't believe. They want to bring Christ down, God down. They want their God to win. It's not going to happen. If you want a link to something that'll help you understand this, but just go through my website, marysoliel.com, and I'll send it to you. But on this one morning recently, very recently, actually it was Monday, I was guided to look at some things. I mean, it was just, again, just kind of fell into my lap. God's directing me to see it, so then I go and share it, okay? And all of a sudden, there was all this awareness over this one letter, okay? Now, the Twitter guy, he has a fetish with that letter. Think about it. His space thing, his car, and he uses Tesla's name. Again, write me if you don't understand what I'm talking about. I don't want to get on. I want this channel to stay as long as it can. But now he's rebranding, you know, that Twitter with the cute little bird. Now it's going to be this. And people, even truthers, are still jumping on the bandwagon, supporting this guy. Please, again, write me. I can send you stuff on that. True stuff. You can't deny it. It's all out there. It's just that he talks like us, and we can be so. And I'm totally guilty. For years, I was so gullible. Not anymore. I'm on the other extreme. And we've all been misled. We've all been deceived. But it's time we unify and stop. You know, they're really targeting the truther movement with for division with this SOF movie. Idolatry is really dangerous. It is so dangerous. And anything that's coming from the big, almost anything coming from the big leaders, corporations, the actors, the real actors in Hollywood, but they're all actors, okay? They're all actors, and we're sucking it up for the most part. We have to awaken to it. And just going along with what's fed to us on the news or whatever is so dangerous. That's how we got into so much trouble with the... Anyways, getting back to the Twitter guy. So I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking, you know, about how he uses that letter. And then I was thinking about how, you know, it always kind of bugged me for years. Why did they shorten the word Christmas? And then, you know, it dawned on me. It just, I'm sure I'm getting help. Michael probably dropped the word Christmas or Xmas, okay? Why did they ever shorten that? I don't know the history of it. I haven't looked into it yet, but the question is, why did they ever shorten it and put an X? X is marking out, isn't it? Marking out Christ? They are, it's this sneaky, subliminal, they're all actors. He's a bad actor to me. I can see right through him, but they are trying to bring down the divine, okay? So I was thinking about that, and it always bothered me. And I've used it, not much, because I didn't like Xmas, but I have honestly done that. I'm not going to do that ever again. No more. No more of that. Because that feeds it energetically, you know? So I was thinking about that, and then I was thinking about the series The Chosen. And I had watched one episode, or not even a whole episode, and something wasn't right. Again, just like with Tim B's organization, when I was giving money every month, something wasn't right, like it didn't feel right, and I stopped watching it. Couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I know part of it was, it felt like manipulative, just the energy of, I know I'll lose some of you because so many of you love The Chosen, and I can see why too. Let me finish. But you know, there was something, it's like the people in those times aren't like us. We are a product of society, and a crazy society compared to those times. And it felt manipulative because they're making the people like us, like kind of being from those times, but kind of being cool. I mean, honestly, it's hard to express, but something didn't feel right. That's all I can say. And then, so I stopped watching, and then, you know, my good friend said, oh, it's so great. And she got addicted, and then this other friend's addicted to it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it another chance. And again, I understand why it's addicting. Like, I ended up watching the whole 3 seasons because I wanted to understand it. But I did go back to watch it because I wanted to see how they portray Christ. I want to see who that is and how they portray him. Okay? And as soon as I saw him and started watching, I'm like, does that feel like a divine being to you? The Christ in my heart, that I feel in my heart, that's not who I was seeing a representation of. Of course, that's just my opinion. But think about it. It was like he was being shown as just a common man who could do some miracles. Well, we can all, when we use our authority, we can all create miracles, right? As human beings, but we don't have the level of self-realization and divinity in us like Christ. And I didn't see that in that character, personally, okay? This is my opinion again. I'm just telling you how all this came together, like they're kind of bringing down the divinity of Christ, okay, and how special. I heard in this interview this guy refer to, well, he said something like, you know, why did they make Christ so wimpy? I wouldn't have used that word, but that's it. I mean, he was wimpy. He wasn't like this strong, powerful, divine being that, you know, you saw at least a lot better represented in the old day the movies from the old times, right? You didn't feel that strong divinity, right? Well, it turns out, as I would do more research, I found out it's this huge popular series to mold, to put something out there. I'm just telling you, again, red flags everywhere over this, okay? So, I mean, the apostles were interesting. I liked Matthew. He was an interesting character. But like, I'm not going to watch anymore. I get it now, and I'm done with that. But anyway, so all these things that I just mentioned about Christ and what they're doing, okay? You're not going to believe what happened. I wrote to a group of people about my observations, okay? People that are wanting to know the truth. And I heard a leave now, just like that leave now that took me to the ocean. In my last video, I talk about where I had that another amazing sign of our salvation. Like, again, I always listen. It's always amazing. So I got in the car. I go to the post office. Felt to go to the post office, but nothing major happened. So I just got back in the car and I heard, don't go home, go this way. And then I was guided to go on a road in a different direction that took me where I would not have seen what I saw had I gone home, okay? And I turn the corner, and what do I see but a huge X in the sky, a thick one. Now, many of you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know what the X means in the sky. For those that don't, okay, I want to be able to stay on this channel, but it's labeled and it's already proven. It's been proven over years. But not only that, but the dark, and I put that in quotes, I put that in heavy quotes, they admit to it. They admit to it. They say that and it's all because of their created. It's all created to further their agenda. You guys, there's so much proof out there, and all these things, such as like with this situation, what's going on in the sky, in our skies all over the world. I've known about it since just after the millennium, and I'm like, no way would our do that. No way, no. But yeah, over time, yeah, things aren't what they seem. It's okay. We're going to get through this with God and with our awakening. We can't spiritually bypass any of this, especially for our kids' sake. And they're trying to take our humanity away. It's not going to happen. So just imagine how I felt after this morning of this influx of thoughts and researching the whole X thing, and then I'm literally guided to see like this really clear X in the sky, and this is what they do with that X. And I know many of you already know this, but here's just some scenes from Florida of things that are not natural. This is not the way we grew up, guys. These aren't the same skies. It's not natural. It's not a natural atmosphere anymore. But remember that God can change anything. Okay, this is really interesting. There's an army of tractors coming to do that work. There's some message in that. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on their way. Too funny. Okay, we're constructing. What's the message? Hi there. This is really amazing. Okay, because that's another thing I want to talk about. You know, Florida is very targeted. You know, I told you about the mosquitoes, and now there's, yeah, all these biblical diseases. I'm not going to interfere. This is amazing. The rebuild. The rebuild is happening because the hurricanes from last year really messed with our, I mean, nothing like Fort Myers Beach. It was so horrible. But I hope you can hear me. But the coastlines have been very fragile. I mean, half of our walkaways have been taken. Homes were flooded, but nothing like the other side. There's a big orange one. funny. Unbelievable. Yes, time for the rebuild. It's time for the rebuild. Anyways. Okay. So, anyways, you know, so it's a very vulnerable feeling living so close to the water. I'm just 2 blocks away. To live so close and knowing that there, such as last year's, where the weather just stopped for a really long time. Weather doesn't stop like that, and just poured. They created. Isn't that something though? I can't get over that. I'm glad to share it with you in the now. But I was meant to be here. I knew I had to do a lot with the water. And I had several prayer groups of hundreds of people, different prayer groups that, you know, because we can, with prayer, and especially when we claim our divine power and authority, we can change, have an effect on the weather. Yes, we are that powerful, and it's time we know that power. More to come on that. More to come on the subject that I keep putting off because these synchronicities and signs and messages keep coming through. But it's about how people are falling from our lives and how to move into unconditional love and forgiveness. And things will shift. This is just a hard time for a lot of us, especially those of us that are working so hard for the light, and those that are empaths, those beautiful empaths that are being affected and manipulated. It'll all change. It'll all turn around. We'll get through this time together. You have to laugh. When I see some of the stuff that's going on in you have to laugh. It's so insane, even though it's so dangerous what's going on. But for our emotional health, you have to move that energy, move it out, and laughter is a great way. Laugh, find people to laugh with. Laugh with Archangel Michael. We need to support God, support Christ. He's working through so many of us to get to the other side of this, and we will get there together. God wins. God wins. God wins. I'm interrupting my own video because I realized that I forgot something. I was so excited about the 5 tractors at the perfect time. And by the way, 5, as you probably know, represents change. So just hold on. But I meant to say, when I was talking about what's going on in Florida, if you recall in my last video or the video before, I think my last video, I was talking about that and how I use the 3 P's, prayer, precaution, and preparedness. Well, the very first time we were going out kayaking, I said a prayer before leaving, okay? And I said, if there's some reason, the weather, the whatever, just tell me through a sign or whatever, okay? And I literally imagined getting a sign just as we're about to turn to where you go to the boat ramp, okay? You guys, honest, I can't make this up, honest God truth. So just when we get to that street where we turn to go to the boat ramp, what do I see in front of me but a car with a license plate? It happened too fast to get a picture. The letter N, J-O-Y, enjoy, and the word fun. Enjoy fun. I mean, seriously, this is what I'm talking about, how synchronicities and working with God and talking to God and praying, it's just the only way to get through, in my view. At least that's the only way I want to get through this. I'm here for you guys. Okay, getting back to my video now.